Welcome back. It is time to do some more things with clay. So here I have still the slab built platter with texture created from a cut lino, and now it is time to put a foot on it, because nobody wants a flat bottom platter. They just rock and they're just not that good. You need to put a little foot on it, give it a little finish to it. So what I'm going to do is I have this piece of foam from an old chair or something. I'm not even sure what. I've got a little block of wood, and then I have a handy dandy spinny banding wheel from Shimpo. I like to use the Shimpo ones. You spin them and they just keep spinning. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to place my foam here and then a block of wood there. I'm going to flip it over. Oh goodness, getting a little scared. I'm going to take off my bottom here. Take off my mold. Ta-da. And I'm going to slide this bad boy right on over there and see if we can't adjust the platter so it rests nice and even on the foam. And I'll just move it around till it kind of spins about even. And this is actually really easy to do. I've got a coil here that I have extruded, a big coil actually, that I've extruded from with my block of clay and my turntable, my dies. I have a jar of vinegar. I don't know how long I've been using this jar of vinegar, but I've been using it for a while. And what I'm gonna do is the vinegar just acts as a nice agent, it's a wetting agent really, to allow me to attach my two pieces of clay together. Brush it onto my coil, brush it onto my platter base here. I'm gonna try and get a nice. Now take my coil. Start placing my coil foot on there so I get a nice little part. For the connection part, I'm just going to do a little overlap, cut a little angle, take my excess coil, set it off the side, because I'll probably need to use that again later. And look to see how my foot holds up here. Seems to be holding up pretty well. Get a good shape going that I like. You know, right around the nice chunky part there. And then it's gonna be real simple to just kind of put my hand there to give a little support. Press my coil down onto the foot of my platter. So I get a nice connection point. And like I say, I will be making more of these. This was an experimental piece, right? So this will be one that I will put in the kiln and then fire and do a lot of testing, glaze testing on. Make sure it's, I can get some real nice colors on this. This particular piece will not be in production. My others will. I will be making more like this. That will be in production, but this is the first one. It's the prototype. And it will give me ideas of ways to make it a little bit faster, a little bit easier, maybe. Now, I did let my platter sit up overnight. Um, Depending on what humidity's like, temperature, will depend on how long it takes for one of these platters, drop molded plates, to actually set up enough so you can really kind of work it. I did set mine underneath a t-shirt and then a towel a little later to slow down the drying. It's pretty hot. It's a little humid, definitely humid here right now, but it is definitely hot. So while it is humid and it takes a little bit longer for some things to dry, that heat really does hit and dry my pots out fast if I'm not paying attention. So I like to use cloth laid over the top. I'm not a big fan of plastic. A problem I have with plastic, number one, it's, well, it's everywhere. It's ubiquitous. Yeah, it's uses up our natural resources. It doesn't decompose, or it takes thousands of years to break down. And so I also found that plastic will keep things wet for a really long time, but doesn't allow it to dry. Now, I know some people are like, well, use thinner plastic, use dry cleaner bags. I don't dry clean clothes. I don't go to a dry cleaner. So I'm not going to go there to get dry cleaner bags. So I use sheets of cloth. I like to use old t-shirts. Old towels work great, I'm recycling because either they're my old shirts or my wife's old shirts, or old towels. If I get into a real bind, I'll go to Goodwill, buy them from there. I generally don't have to do that though. Enough people will give you the old shirt off their back because they're cleaning out closets, or it's last year's model, whatever. But what's nice about that is you can layer it to control how fast it dries, and it will actually, instead of like plastic, which will give a horrible dripping that can sometimes occur. The moisture gets up, hits the plastic, rolls down, falls into the middle of the pot. You don't get that with the cloth. What it does, it allows it to breathe. It allows it to go out and allows your piece to dry without, a little crack here I want to kind of fill up and hide out. Without it, it allows it to evaporate, right? It allows the water to actually evaporate. And if you use layers of layers on it, you can actually control that amount of moisture that's going off the piece, which is really an excellent way of, you put 5 or 6 shirts, t-shirts, or strips of cloth over the top of something, you slow it down much faster than just one strip of cloth. So you can really kind of vary how fast your piece is dry depending on your humidity and temperature levels. Go ahead, put my little stamp in there. And so that's how I got this piece to dry overnight. Left it out, didn't put it in my damp box. And it worked great. Now, next step I'm going to do here is I'm going to work this rim a little bit. It's a little, as they say, because I did cut it with a needle tool, so it's got a little bit of an edge, and I don't like that, I'm going to clean that edge up some, so I'm just going to use a little sponge, a little water, curve my fingers. You can, back to the plastic, you could actually probably lay a piece of plastic over the top if you want to get a little more of a curve when you're cutting it. To great way of actually getting clean edges off of other things. Now, done that, kind of deformed my platter just slightly when I was working on it. It's probably a little damper than I need it to be. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna pick up my foot on my platter, back onto its piece of wood. And now you can see I have a foot on my platter, lifts it up, and actually press that foot down a little bit, make sure that platter's nice and flat across the bottom. And now, you can see underneath there, you can see my foot. It's raised this whole piece up, makes it look so much better than just sitting flat on the piece. Gives it a finish that works really, really well for my stuff. You may like it. Again, you know, it's such an easy thing to do, to add a little foot to a slab built platter, that just, you know, it raises it up. It gets it off the table, gives it a little bit of a height, right? So when people are presenting the food, it gives it a little bit of height, separates it from the table, gives it a nice little shadow underneath here. You know, it really gives the piece kind of that finished dimension. You know, it's all about finishing the piece, if you will. Give a, you know, coming through, smoothing out these edges, rolling over the edge, works, you know, really, again, it's that finish. It makes somebody want to kind of handle the piece a little bit more than just that nasty crinkly edge, hard edge, which of course, as we know, once this gets fired, it's going to be really hard. You could even, you know, you add glaze to it, you could actually create an edge that could cut people, and who's going to want to play with your pots? Do the same thing here on my handles. Work the inside and the outside of my handle a little bit, smoothing it out, using my finger. If it feels smooth and nice to your finger while it's in the leather hard or the stage, it's gonna feel nice and smooth to your finger in the when you bisque fire it. And then after you glaze it, well, that glaze will give a nice, real smooth surface to it. Then it's gonna feel just like, woohoo, oh so good. So, this is the finishing off of the slab built platter from yesterday. I'm gonna come in here and just kind of work my handle a little bit better in here. I'm gonna clean that up, make it so it's not so janky looking, if you will. It's got a nice clean connection, nice curved connection actually on the inside there, which I like. But now I have my platter. It is complete. All right. Get a little more connection down there, just a little thin. Like it didn't really get it good. All the way around connection to that point. But let's see. Oh, still a little damp. So you start to pick it up, starts to deform. But my handles weren't going anywhere. They weren't ripping off, which is good. And if your handles stay on in the leather hard stage, your handles will almost, well, probably almost 100% stay on after they're bisque fired with no cracks or anything. And that is how you can add a foot to your slab built, texturized, look at all those skulls, they're skull, texturized platters for use in wherever, right? So, bam, this is done, ready to go. As always, if you have any comments or questions, you can drop them below. If you like my video, please hit that thumbs up button. If you don't like my video, don't hit the thumbs up button. Just go tell your enemy about it, that you don't like my video, and that way your enemy will like my video. Tell your frenemies about it. And of course, you can go ahead if you like what you see and you want to see more, you want to stay up to date, hit that subscribe button below. You know how this internet thing works. And go make something out of clay.